there, this is Judy DeLorenzo from A Life Well Planted. Today I'm making another batch of Annie's salsa, and I'd like to show you how I peel the tomatoes and prepare them for the recipe. I'll also point out mistakes I made along the way that you can avoid. As you can see here, I used Roma tomatoes, namely Hog Heart, Amish Paste, and Grandma Mary's, but it's actually more desirable if you use less dense tomato varieties. Annie prefers to use a combination of heirloom tomatoes. Okay, so this is the process. You boil water and place your washed tomatoes into the pot for 30 to 60 seconds, and then you place them into a bowl of ice water, and this process will magically make the skins burst and they'll be easy to peel. Next, you carefully core the tomatoes and slip off those skins. Now, an optional step is to also quarter them and remove the gel sacs that contain the seeds. This is what it looks like before the seeds are removed, but it's really easy to hold the tomato over the sink and slip them out with your finger. And then it looks like this. However, what I learned is that removing these gel sacs is only desirable when you have a juicy tomato. When you have a dry tomato such as these, removing the seeds and gel sacs may result in a product that is too thick and dense, and density is a consideration when canning this recipe. And now the tomatoes are ready to be chopped and placed in the measuring cup, and when you have a bit more than the recipe calls for, drain out some of the excess liquid, but not too much, and then remeasure to make sure you have the correct amount. Through trial and error, I learned that it's better not to drain any of the juices when using a dry Roma tomato. Your end product should be thick enough so the chopped veggies are suspended in the liquid, yet thin enough so those chopped veggies move freely in the jar. As it turned out, this batch of salsa ended up being too dense to safely can, so I froze it. The reasons it ended up being too dense include everything I talked about earlier. I started with 100% dense Roma tomatoes. I removed the seeds and gel sacs, plus I drained it. I don't mind freezing this recipe though, it freezes really well. Some people prefer it frozen versus canned because they say it has a fresher taste. Overall, preparing the tomatoes and other veggies for this recipe does take a bit of time, but I find it to be a Zen process that I enjoy, and I hope you do too because the end result is worth it. You can find the full recipe for Annie's salsa on my blog on MotherEarthNews.com. Well, that's it for now, and as a reminder, if you're not eating for health, you're eating for disease. Be well, my friends.